Mic test. I still remember that night really clearly. I was only 14. The whole day, I had been caught up with badminton training. I was in the school team, you see. I was exhausted, but I still had to work on this project, a Chinese project. I worked for 3 weeks on this particular project, and I was grateful that it was finally done. However, just as I was about to hit my bed, the phone rang. It was my project mate. And she said to me, "Dear Sha-En, your quality of your work is so bad that we have to drop you from the project." And then they put down the phone. I felt like I was punched in the face. I might as well have been, because tears started streaming uncontrollably down my face. I crumpled to the ground and I asked myself, why me? Why now? Do I have to redo everything? I've worked so hard on this project. Why is this happening to me? I wanted desperately to go to them and say, take me back, put me back in your project, because I would have nothing to show for tomorrow. But all I did was hide under my blanket and cried myself to sleep. The next day, I went to school and everybody was presenting their project. But I had nothing to show. When my teacher questioned me where it was, I just kept quiet. The truth was, I was embarrassed about the state of my Chinese. You see, I look Chinese on the outside, but my dad, he's Peranakan. He speaks only 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 in Chinese. We do not speak it at home. I was ashamed, and so I kept quiet and just allowed myself to be scolded. To make matters worse, my group mates claimed my project as their own. You could say that at that moment, I felt I was at rock bottom. The bottom of this very dark well, where the light seemed so far away. Maybe, like me, some of you sometimes feel that way. Or maybe you're feeling that way right now and you're thinking, can I ever get out of it? Is it even possible? Thankfully, I had some help. A friend of mine who had noticed everything that had happened and knew how hard I had worked on that project came up to me when I was crying in the bathroom and she said, "Sha-En, how could you let them do this to you? You and I know how hard you have worked." I had no words. But she stood up for me. She went to the teacher and told him everything that had happened. And in the end, I got some points, and my project mates got a scolding. I learned in that very precious moment that the right company and group of friends makes a world of difference. You see, that same friend said, "Come and join us. We'll support you." And they kept their word. Every time I did not know something, I would go to them. Whenever I missed classes because of badminton training, they would tell me what I had missed. And when we had moments that were good, they celebrated together with me. The right company can make a whole world of difference. So I ask you, who are you surrounding yourself with? The quality of the people that you surround yourself with makes that difference. They can either lift you up, like my friend, or they can throw you down into the bottom of the well, like my project mates. You have a choice. Choose wisely. that was a respite to have someone who stood up for me and believed in me. I also had help from my form teacher. She had seen me in the weeks following that incident where I was still a little bruised, with my head hung low, my shoulders curved over, not feeling very good about myself. Well, the truth was, just like some of you, inside my head was an inner critic. Hands up, those of you who have something like that. That voice, that voice that says, you're not good enough. You're not worthy. You can't do it. I see some hands there. We all have that. And that voice was rearing its head. And I didn't feel good at myself. I didn't make eye contact with anyone. I just sat in my corner, so to speak. Until one day, I came back to my table, and there was a note on the table. It was from my form teacher. And inside the note, she wrote, "Dear Sha-En, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent." At first, I was confused. Had I given my consent for people to treat me that way? So I went to look for her in the staff room. And she said, Sha-En, you can choose to focus on all the lousy things that have happened to you and feel sorry for yourself, or you can choose to focus on all the good things that have happened to you, the strengths that are inside you, and feel good about yourself. Where are you paying attention to? I couldn't absorb it straight away, but I think maybe something inside me heard the message. As I was leaving the staff room, she said to me, "Sha-En, remember, you are kind. You play a mean game of badminton, and you have a great smile. Remember that." Armed with her belief in me, I went back to class, and over the next few months, I used that smile and my kindness to make more friends. I continued playing badminton because that was where I felt strength. You see, I had focused so much on the dank and dark conditions of the well that I forgotten that inside me lay strengths, just like all of you. Inside you lay strengths that may at the moment be hidden, but they are there. Inside you lay strengths that you can use to overcome the challenges that you are facing. And so my second question for you is, what are those strengths? Ask yourself in all honesty, what are you good at? Even if it's just a smile. How can you use that to overcome the challenges that you are facing? So with my friends' help and my teacher's support, I felt like I was kind of slowly climbing out of the well. But as you know, every journey towards something, it's like going up 3 steps, dropping down 3 steps. With that inner critic in your head, it's almost like you're back to square one sometimes. And one of the things that really plagued me, was that I looked around, left and right, and I saw my friends being so successful. Some of them were student council leaders in their own right, showing up at every school event, but still managing to ace every exam that they take. Some of them were speakers, just like your friend just now, on stage, showing their best. Some of them were just genuinely nice people and had so many friends to be around. Of course, in those times, we didn't have social media. Now you have social media, and you might be looking at Instagram or some other platform that you have and think, they're all winning, they're all so cool, they hang out at the best places. What about me? I felt that way too. What about me? Will that life ever be mine? But then I learned a precious lesson in one of my badminton matches. It was the finals of the badminton championship. I was 18 by then. And my partner and I, were playing the deciding match. The other school had won 2 games. We had won 2 games. And it was down to us. If we won for the school. But if we lost for the school. No pressure, right? So there we were, getting ready. We got through the first game. And at the start of the second game, I saw my coach standing in the corner over there, his big booming body, staring at me. And just as we were about to hit the first shuttle, my partner said, "Sha-En, only 15 points." In those days, it was 15 points, not 21. She said, 3 times 5 points, and we are the champions. Let's just do 1 point at a time. 1 point at a time. And so that's what I focused on. 1 point at a time. 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 15 very sweaty points later, we had won! Woohoo! Now, in that moment, everybody ran to us and jumped on us, like on the soccer field, and I was flat on the floor. Everyone said, "Woo!" But all I could remember at that point was that 1 point at a time, 1 more at a point. Because that 1 more got us to where we needed to be. You see, if we spend so much time focusing on people around us, we forget that we can walk our own path. And all we need to do is 1 step at a time, 1 point at a time. Sometimes it feels like 15 points is a lot. Just like some of you, I need to get this, and I need to get this, and I need to get that. Break it down into something smaller. And every time you get that point, do a high five with someone, celebrate that win. Let's all do that now. Turn to the person next to you and do a high five and say 1 more. Let's do that. Awesome. So, comparison is the thief of joy, if you have ever heard that phrase. And just remember, social media is curated. People put up there the version of themselves they want you to see. But that may not be the reality that they are living, similar to what you might be doing. And so, it is more important, therefore, for you to focus on your own path, taking 1 step at a time towards the goals that you want to achieve. That reduces distraction, and you are focusing on your strengths, taking those steps forward. So the last question I have for you is, who or what are you comparing to? Who or what are you comparing to? Sometimes we compare and we think that that is the person I should compare with. But are they on the same journey as you? What are you comparing to? Someone your age? But they might have come from a totally different path as you. And along the way, are you celebrating your wins? How do you do that? Remember, we are not talking about big, massive wins. Small wins can make a huge difference. So by using the steps, surrounding myself with the right company. Step number 2, focusing on my strengths and what I can do. And number 3, walking my own path 1 step at a time. I was able to get out of the well. At the end of high school, I graduated top of my class, badminton champion, and was surrounded by great friends I could rely on. looking at me then, no one would have thought that I was that same girl who was at the bottom of the well all those years ago. Nobody would have thought I was the one who had received that devastating phone call. So if you are like me, and you are now at the bottom of the well, take heart. It's painful, I know. It's difficult, yes. But you know what? There's something that you are learning when you're there. Take those lessons and use it to climb up out of the well. If you are some way halfway up the well, a few steps up, by all means, look to the light. Celebrate with hope and motivation that you're almost out of it. But also, please, look down. Because there may be other people who are like me then at the bottom of the well, and maybe lend a hand, or maybe a foot. And finally, if you are already out of the well and you are basking in the light, go ahead. You deserve it because you've probably worked very hard to get there. However, please also be the light. Be the light that goes back down into the well and asks, how can I help? Be the light that was like my friend that said, you shouldn't put up with this. Be the light that was like my teacher who said, there's something in you. You have those strengths. Be the light. And be the one that goes down into the well and pulls or supports someone else to climb out. Thank you very, very much.